Yak.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Very interesting. So perfect segue. I want to ask you about trend growth and how we can increase it. The two component parts that you identify, 1% from productivity growth and 0.7% from labor supply. First of all, what is the implicit immigration number that's built into the 0.7% increase of labor supply? Is it the current 400,000 a year?
Right. Okay. Well, actually, we like to use official numbers. So we actually use the official population forecast of Statistics Canada when we did this projection, and I think they date from 2019. So since then, the government has increased its immigration targets. Stats Canada has not done a new forecast that puts those in, but I think that would increase the overall population growth probably between zero point 0.2 and 0.3 percentage points. So because if we are able to attract over 400,000 immigrants a year, that's going to have a significant effect on our supply and therefore increase our potential. Doesn't help our productivity, but it helps our growth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so the 0.7%.
That's based on I think it's
historical
250 or so.
250. Yeah. Okay. So
it's a little because it's not historical because there's always been an increase in the target, but it never hit 400,000.
Right. But the point is that if in fact the government follows through on its ambition to have 400,000, then we could be looking at a higher potential trend growth.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay. So that one's easy to sort out. On productivity growth at 1%, you're a little pessimistic about whether you seem to imply with the technological frontier. There's not a lot of ability to push that out. No,
we're continuing to push it on.
Well, let me ask you the specific.
But just at 1%.
Yeah. Okay. What is, because you talked about how we're starting to see a trend of how productivity gains are being shared with labor. More so than in the past. There is a theory, as I'm sure you know, that increasing wages is a way to increase productivity because of substitution effects and so on. And it's not very popular in the business community. Do you have a view about that and whether we have room to use that kind of strategy to raise that 1% figure?
Well, okay. First off, you're right. There is an incentive. Obviously, if labor costs go up, employers have incentive to substitute machinery for workers. That's happening all the time because we're always seeing the rate of the capital labor ratio going up at all the time. Employers are always adding new machinery at a faster pace than they're adding new workers. Now, whether to have that is, I don't know if that's the most effective policy to increase productivity. We don't want to all of a sudden increase wages by 4% and say we're doing that to raise productivity. That could throw people out of work. So if the market does that, that's great. But I wouldn't, as public policy, start having the government say, well, we're going to raise wages for everyone to have a productivity gain. Hopefully that'll take care of itself. That's a positive feature of the strong economy. You get greater real wage growth, and there's more incentive for employers to substitute capital for labor. Now, the caveat there, I won't get into the details, is that we're talking here about labor productivity. But another measure of productivity that Statistics Canada produces is called multi-factor or total factor productivity that takes into account the capital as well as the labor. And because of the increase in the capital labor ratio, that total factor productivity advances at a slower pace than labor productivity. Say instead of 1%, it's been growing at, let's say, 0.5% over the last 20 years. So there's these two measures of productivity. But I certainly, strong wages is a positive effect on productivity, I think. I don't think it's the most important thing. Technology is much more important, but it's certainly kind of a positive effect.
And you think the market more or less takes care of it by itself?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay. I don't think you would have the government policy to say we're going to have to raise wages by this.
No. Government policy to induce greater investment in technology. Or is this something that the market more or less...
both. The market has a major incentive to innovate and to adopt the most productive techniques, and that's really the key.